but there's county positions, so there's always an election in November. There would never be a special election.
And the treasurer and the auditor are on staggered terms.
For 4 years, though.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea, and if it comes to me as a voter at 4-year terms, I'm going to vote yes, because I think it's a good idea. I think Mr. Rollins is right, though, about the at-large, because right now it's the top 3 candidates, and now you're going to have one person running at-large, that it's just, you know, you're losing that aspect of it. So I'm for this. I would prefer to see council at 2-year terms, but I would still support it at 4 years.
Thank you. I believe I saw him first.
Sulu Kelly, 365 is for me. While you're doing this, which I think this is a good idea, however the final format comes out, I would suggest doing something to put in there for when a seat becomes vacant and is filled, that they have to run for election the next election cycle if it's, you know, given at least.
That's mandatory.
That's mandatory.
Yeah, any vacancy that's filled, they must run for the remainder of the term, provided
There's enough time to.
there's enough
do it.
time.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have a question?
Yes. Daniel Eric's 912 Cambridge Avenue. This is another situation where I came here for one thing and I hear something else and I feel compelled. Are there term limits for people on city council?
No, not at the
Okay.
present time.
And I understand and I've heard it said several times tonight, that you get elected and then there's a steep learning curve. And it sounds like 2 years isn't enough, is what I'm hearing. I kind of like the idea of 2 years. I'd be happier if it was 3 years. 4 years seems like a long time. What concerns me is that it's been stated several times that we have elections and virtually everybody gets reelected. That to me sounds like more of a problem internally. Like if you get elected for 2 years and you do a great job, chances are you get elected for another 2 years.
Correct.
And that would be the thing that's more concerning to me, is how do you avoid 2 years and out? So,
And this is the time to bring that up and possibly get it included.
I just,
That would be a- that
well,
would be a
no term limits.
good
Stay here for
suggestion.
forever.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, want to do this first reading. Item number 2, we were going to have a discussion on the decorum during the meeting. Basically, that's just how people should conduct themselves, the procedures that we follow. We're not really ready to discuss that in depth yet, so we're going to hold that over till the next committee meeting, and we'll have more information, and then everybody can start putting in your comments on that and make your suggestions then. So we're not going to do too much with that tonight. So we'll move on to matters not on the agenda. Mr. Dicko.
Bill Dickel, 6th Ward Council. I just have a quick question for the law director and for the legislation committee. With summer around the corner, I know you were working on legislation concerning electric bikes and kids riding bikes on the road. It's been a real problem in the ward, a lot of near misses. I personally saw a kid riding a mini bike with about a 2-year-old on his lap driving down the middle of the street. It's happening a lot in the 6th Ward, so I'm hoping with this committee and with the law director, we can move some legislation forward to protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lupke?
I'm here for that same reason. I spoke to Mr. Dickel over the weekend, and I mean, just today, again, I saw kids on what I would call a mini bike that are probably like 8 years old or younger riding on the street. We also have, he and I live real close to each other. They ride on the sidewalk too. So I would add in there with that, the other thing that I'm seeing is the electric scooters. Is that what you call them, where you stand up and it's motorized though, and they're riding those on the sidewalk. And as someone who uses the sidewalks a lot as a pedestrian, it is dangerous. My husband almost got he rides his bike a lot, a bicycle, and he almost got hit by like a 5-year-old on a mini bike last summer. I mean, he had to stop and get off his bike or the kid would have hit him on the street. So it really is becoming dangerous, at least in our neighborhood. So do you have a status update on that legislation?
Yeah, it's towards the top of my list of things to do, just having stricken off some of the more important things. And I actually have conducted some research between the last time we talked about it and today, and found some ordinances that have been adopted through in other municipalities to give it structure that we're looking for and the controls that we're looking for. So I should be able to present something to a committee in May so we can move it through.
So what's the current law? So can a 6-year-old ride a mini bike on the street?
I don't think so.
I mean,
It's confusing because there's moped law, talks about mopeds, it doesn't talk about electric bicycles, it doesn't talk about
Well, this
stand-up
is-
scooters.
these are little motorcycles.
So when we were growing up,
We call
the
them
control
mini
was
bikes.
called brake horsepower. It has to do with the small engine, a combustion engine, and how much power it produces. And that's how the state municipalities regulated where those are permitted, how old you have to be, depending on how many brake horsepower it had. And like, then mopeds came along, then you got pedals. So it depends, but the products have become so advanced, as you were just noting, some of these small electric devices that are relatively inexpensive can go very fast and become dangerous because of being able to see the operators, especially 8-year-old operators.
Yeah.
So it's a problem all over, and I'm hopeful we can put some controls.
In the short run, a gasoline-powered little motorcycle,
It-
don't they have to have a license for
Yeah,
that?
that's
So
insane, right?
those,
A combustion engine
that's
has
what
the
we're seeing a
electric.
lot of in our neighborhood. There are kids on gasoline-powered little, I would have called it a mini bike when I was.
So those are still regulated like they were when we were growing up. They're
Yeah.
still prohibited from being on the street. The
Or the
problem is
sidewalk.
having enough, or the sidewalk,
Yeah.
having enough law enforcement to be there at the right time.
Yeah, okay.
If there's a licensure situation, then, I mean, growing up, we had to license our bicycles. It's like your parents had to sign off, for you that you obey certain, laws and everything. The red license. Yeah. And I just think there could be some general, again, to work on that division of what, and clarity within the, anything that we propose that,
Mr. Rollins.
Mr. Rollins?
Aaron Rollins, Control at Large. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but just a real quick question, because we're on the topic of e-bikes and small motorcycles. What are the stances in city parks? So I have dropped off my son to baseball practice, and there is a group of kids that are riding these mini bikes around Lincoln Park, even today with the soggy conditions. So I got to believe they're going to be leaving burnouts and ruts in the grass, so on and so forth. I was a little surprised that they were even in there riding around. Anybody? No?
So they're forbidden, gas-powered mini bikes.
So they are prohibited in the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
This is not related to the bicycle thing, or?
Yeah. As long as it's related to legislation codes, yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was here to talk about the door and the expansion.
Right.
I made some copies with highlighting on them, just so that they can approach.
Sure.
This, for anybody who's interested, I'll show you. This is the original door. These maps are all drawn to scale. All right, keep that in mind. Let me show you the expanded Dora. And then this is what I'm proposing. So I apologize for not having more copies. I got a little problem with copier, so
It's okay.
I'll give these.
Give those to the clerk.
There you go.
I can make copies.
Last week I spent an hour with Evelyn Regional Planning, and looking at, she gave me a whole packet of how that proceeded through when it was last approved. So I'll be kind of walking that, the new area and looking at signage, looking at that. I think what really, and I might have talked to you about this, the fact that how people use the DORA and what, as far as having perhaps a reminder, and I don't know if anybody from like downtown Marion's here, to how that works, how it operates. So when you take your cup, you can go to different places, but you can't take your drink inside, or you have to pour it out, believe it or not, or consume it. There's just a lot of, I think, things that need to be clarified. But nonetheless, the expansion of the area, again, that just needs to be looked at. So I will be gladly looking at that from here on out as well.
And along those same lines, Ms. Cummings did send out some literature for us to look at. And the basic question I had when I looked at the expanded one is, what is the purpose of the DORA? If it's to promote drinks between liquor establishments, then these DORA boundaries go way beyond liquor establishments. So, Mr. Rollins, you have a comment?
Yeah. So the idea behind the DORA is not to take liquor between other liquor establishments. In fact, you can't take a DORA cup that has alcohol in it into another establishment that has alcohol in it. That is not the purpose of the DORA. The purpose of the DORA was to be able to take refreshment into a retail shop to continue consuming, or to walk down the street and continue consuming. You cannot take another alcoholic beverage into a business that sells alcoholic beverages.
That's why I think it needs to have some clarity.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is alcohol legal in Founder's Park?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about Lincoln Park? Okay.
Founders is in DORA, right?
I think when they did it, Founders
Okay.
was specifically part of the DORA, so it was accepted.
Yeah, except the only time the door is not in effect is during the Popcorn Festival.
Okay.
You have another?
Yeah, again, I'm still Dan Erickson, I'm 12 Cambridge Avenue. That's been the most confusing thing to me as I've looked around it. When it was expanded, there's this little bump that goes out to include Heritage Hall. For what purpose? Heritage Hall can't sell alcohol. They can serve it if they're having a special party, but clearly they're not going to be, whatever you call it, where they have the license to allow people to have the cups to leave. So why would they need to be included at all? They would be, if they're having an event, they can serve beer and wine if they
They can get a special permit for that event.
But they're not, and likewise, a bunch of other areas.
Based on what Mr. Rollins said, I would think that the purpose of them being included in that DORA is so that somebody that's drinking can go in there, since they don't sell alcohol. They could go in there and look at the...
I would be shocked to discover that somebody can walk 2.5 blocks with an open beer and go walking in, and that they would say, sure, go walk through.
You can refuse it too.
Historical
You
argument.
can't, they can refuse it.
And I understand that, and
Yeah.
then earlier this evening, the mayor offered the idea that, for the purpose, for the area that I'm most concerned about, that we could get signs. But why after, 140 years of being in that location, and nobody ever thinking that they could come drinking around, why do we now have to put up signs to say you can't? A lot of it just doesn't make sense to me. And again, the idea and what I'm starting to hear, I can tell you, last week, or 2 weeks ago when I spoke, I saw everybody shaking their head in agreement. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. And afterwards, several people said, I wasn't on city council. Nobody was on city council. It's on city council. Nobody was on city council when the expansion was made. And a lot of people wanted me to understand that they wouldn't have agreed with it then. They don't like the idea. But I feel like now we're starting down the road and we're going to just keep kicking it down the road. Well, in a couple of years, when it has to be reviewed, many of the people that are currently on city council won't be on city council. And so, everybody was anxious to say it's the fault of the people that were here before us. Fix it now. Fix it now.
Yeah.
If you do the research and you come back and you say, well, the state says we have to keep it, then I've got to do the research, because I can't believe the state has to give you permission to do it. But I'm pretty sure the city can say, we changed our mind, we're going to draw it back in. I just can't believe that the state is going to say you were required to keep your door in the confines.
Well, and I know that Ms. Cummins sent out some literature to us, and we are working on it. but from what I understand from her, it is a complicated process. So it's going to take a little time, but we're not going to drop the ball on this end. So,
Yeah, start working on it now.
yep,
It
we
was
are.
obviously a complicated process
Yep.
to expand it way beyond what it should have been.
Right.
Let's fix it now, and you all can be the heroes because you're still on city council.
We're the people you're talking to, and we're the ones responsible.
Well,
You gotta go by
I
it.
appreciate you there. No, I appreciate it, I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Alan Wilson, downtown Marion, Inc. So the reason for including Heritage Hall is because they do open up for night events. So they are included in the DORA. They don't always get a liquor permit that they can hold for one night or for a weekend. Those are available through the state, but that does not allow them. They are currently taking over an event that is a haunted downtown tour. So in order for them to have alcohol like that, they would not be able to sell a DORA cup because they're not a permanent establishment with a liquor license. DORA cups are all required to have 2 stickers on them in order for it to be sold from any of the establishments. This was the rough draft of what was in the paperwork submitted to the state. On the front of the cup, it requires that each establishment selling a DORA drink has their logo specifically on the front of the cup. That way, when they go to walk into a different establishment, you're not allowed to enter that drink. It has to be pitched before you go in. You can't cross-contaminate kind of the liquor permits. And then on the back, the other one, it states what the boundaries are. There's a QR code that you can scan that shows you the map. You can't go past this point. You have to pitch it before you go in. No getting in cars with the DORA cup. There's a whole list of literature that's on the back of the cup as well. We expanded the DORA in 2023 at the request of the merchants. At the time that we originally submitted DORA in 2020, it was during COVID. A lot of time, that was a huge time for DORA. And the original boundaries only included 3 shops in downtown. We have over 56 businesses now in downtown, and currently only there's 4 that do not allow DORA cups to be brought into their establishment. 2 of them are banks. So everybody else is welcome to bring them in, and everybody has that sticker on the front of their door. So I'm always welcome to answer any questions. If anybody has any questions, I'll be here at the end for any other questions that may be asked.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean.
Let me get Miss Mayor back.
Yes, that's it.
Mayor, Amy Gifford. So we should want to be like other towns that maybe are growing, as in the county, Delaware. Delaware has, where they have their third Thursdays or whatever it is it's called, I don't even know. That's what we
First
have.
Fridays, I
We
think.
have the Thursdays, don't we?
Yeah, first Fridays, I think the word.
Anyways, and they allow basically the same thing. People go there and they drive there. That's part of what we need in this town. We need people to get in their cars and drive here. We need people, to come here, spend their money. That's part of it. In the summertime, and they're able to walk around and stuff, I'm out. As much as alcohol has been okayed over all of the years, because it's this faux pas for decades, that's been a long time. I mean, people are a lot more accepting of alcohol than they are other things. And someone walking around with a cup that if all of the businesses, all but a few, have pretty much, then I don't see the problem. Because it is enabling people to come here, and if they're not having any problems, causing problems, then keeping it in a small area is maybe not good. Maybe the area's too big. Maybe we need to look at it, maybe not include the church. Maybe it works down too far. But I understand what they're saying with the Historical Society or whatever. That makes sense, because they don't always have their permits. And then I would enable them to have that. Because, people, when you go to these places, it'll enable them to maybe come or something. I don't know. There's a lot of drinkers out there. And if something like that is going to stop them from coming, then maybe I don't know. I don't know. We just need to consider things as well.
Thank you.
We need money to this town.
Yes.
I live in the county and I'm not to speak. Deanna Christian, 963 Summerlin Hoffman.
You guys would
I
have to
vote
vote.
yes, yeah,
Yes.
yes.
All right, so I do come downtown for third Thursday.
Can I get your name and address? again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Deanna, D-E-A-N-N-A Christian, 963 Summerlin Hoffman Road East. So I do come downtown. I do a lot of volunteering, I do a lot of things. I come to third Thursday. I walk around a lot of the businesses, and once in a while, yes, I will stop and grab a drink and kind of walk around the city. There are signs that I've seen when you reach a point that you can no longer go past that. So that's totally visible to somebody who's walking around downtown. So there is visible signs that I've seen when I'm walking around and knowing. And when you're doing that, if there's somebody who's coming from out of town, or I'm out in the county and I'm coming here, I'm gonna pay attention where I'm going and what I'm doing. I don't wanna be in trouble. I just, wanna walk around, maybe I get those, I don't know, there's some seltzers from one of the bars downtown that I don't normally drink, and it's kinda nice, it's refreshing when it's hot out. So, I'm not sure, I go to other cities like Delaware, places like that, where they have the same thing. I think it was a good thing that Marion put that in place. And I would have to ask, how many problems have we seen out of the door? Now, let's talk about the popcorn festival. How many problems do we see out of that? So I'm just weighing those options, because I've been to both, okay?
Are you asking me?
Sure, I'll
Yeah,
ask you.
the answer for Dora is we have had no problems with the Dora, and also with the Popcorn Festival, we have almost no problems with the Popcorn Festival. It is a completely different popcorn festival than it was when I was a young officer. It was a lot different than it
Okay,
is now.
all right, so I feel like if we're not seeing any problems, and we're talking to the police department, we're not seeing any problems, why should we change something that everybody is for?
Thank you.
I have something real quick,
Yes.
if I could. I think one of the issues is when they get to the church's parking lot where they parked, they're throwing their cups down in the parking lot because there's no trash cans or anything for them to throw in. So, and they don't want to get caught with a Dora cup in their car because that could create major problems for them. So, that might be something to look at, is getting, if we're going to allow people to walk around with paper cups, having drinks, there should be some place for them to dispose of them. And there's not a whole lot of trash cans, public trash cans downtown. We could break out the Schertzer boxes.
I don't know how many there are, so. Mr. Daniels.
Lonnie Daniel, 608 Decatur Street. I imagine you're talking about the Dora, and I do have a question for that. Right now, it's kind of confined to downtown, but I'm wondering if eventually it's not going to be expanded, because, you have bars and taverns that are outside of the Dora, like all the way to the tracks before 5 Points. And I'm wondering if eventually you might not extend it out towards that. Because, you got the, what is that? You got Attaboys, you've got the Spaghetti Warehouse, or whatever they call it now.
Ruchi's?
Yeah.
Sitting there, I think.
And then you've got a few others that I imagine would have to seek consideration. Then on the other side of the tracks towards the north, you got Shovel City. I don't know that much about that. I never go in these places, but I just wondered if eventually you're not going to sit there and extend the Dora out to include them too.
If you look at the map, you'll see they're already in there.
Okay.
Yep, they are.
Now, your codes and legislation, I'm assuming, I don't have a, I didn't get one of the papers, so eventually I want to sit there and, depending on where it goes, I eventually want to sit there and talk about the storm on Friday night, but I won't bring that up now.
Okay.
So, that's all I wanted to know about that case.
Thank you. Let me get him first.
Okay, Dan Erickson, 912 Cambridge Avenue. I wanted to make a couple of clarifications. Number one, you mentioned about, people drinking, walking down, now they're in the church parking lot, they want to get rid of their cup. I'm not saying that that's a problem that has occurred. It maybe has, maybe it hasn't. I can assure you that during the Popcorn Festival, we see lots of trash in the parking lot from that. Whole different drinking situation there. I wanted to address something. This woman is here. My reason for bringing this up 2 weeks ago centered primarily around the fact that at the church, we have recovery groups 6 nights a week. And my concern was that the parking lot that was suddenly part of the Dora is where the people coming to those recovery groups park. It's where they go on their breaks. It's also a parking lot where the children who are going to the dance school are congregating. It just seems like really bad, a bad plan to have that space included in it. And as I began to look at it, then I realized that in the eastern expansion of it, it included 3 or possibly 4 churches as I look at it. And it's not, and I'm not going to tell you that nobody at my church drinks. I'm probably one of the few that doesn't. But it's just my concern for the people who are there for recovery during the week. That's what got me here in the first place. And why I keep coming is sick. Because I'm having so much fun here. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is, talking about where can people go with it. I don't know how many people in the room are old enough to remember when we used to refer to the city parking lot at Prospect and Church Street as the sit and spit lot. Okay. For decades, that lot has been a place where people will gather and sneak beers out of their trunk and hide them. Now, it's essentially legal. I know it's not following the rules, but they can go get a cup and then refill it all night long and sit there and openly drink in that lot. Now, I don't know where Alan went. All right. Are the cups marked with a date, or are they just, if somebody has one and keeps it?
It's each time, but they're pitching them.
Well, okay.
Empty in trash cans about halfway through the day.
Okay, but you're probably not counting them. But let me ask, in a very broad sense, would it be possible for somebody to buy one once, and if they took care of it, they could refill it themselves from the beer in their trunk, right?
Yes.
Again, I'm not doing any kind of study down there, but if people have been drinking for decades in that lot and hiding it, now they have a way to do it openly, and I would guess that they probably are. I haven't done an exhaustive study on it, but that would be something that, again, it's not my big issue here, but I just think that, frankly, I think the expansion, when it happened, was done somewhat recklessly. I get it, you want attaboys to be in it, you want Bucci's to be in it, I have no argument with that. It expanded north so that the Shovel City Drinkery and some other kind of wine place up there. Of course, it shot right up so that it included St. Mary's as well, but maybe they don't care. I just think that suddenly this expansion to the east, and it was, I think what you said was it was at the request of the shop owners or something?
It was at the request of merchants, because we only had a few select merchants that had the option to allow somebody to leave, say, Marion Brewing and go. It's not to entice people to get drunk. It's entice them to come enjoy the downtown.
I get it.
Patronize the merchants. So we included all the way up to the merchants. We stopped before the church, because the parking lot is a parking lot. We stopped,
But
so
it
we didn't
belongs to the
include the
church.
church.
But again, it didn't.
We stopped before Buckeye Community School. We stopped before them because it's a school. We wanted to be considered there. There was also another church that they voiced to us when it was brought up to council that they did not want to be included. So we went back and revised those plans, cut the church out, and it jogs out around that church. We tried to make all the accommodations that we possibly could.
Well, part of the problem that I mentioned 2 weeks ago was that we were never notified about the expansion, so we didn't have an opportunity to vote on it in the first place. That's part of my objection. But also, if there were merchants that were requesting that it expanded, I would love to see the list of merchants that wanted it expanded that far east.
So there weren't many merchants that way, but we encompassed where merchants would be going. So we didn't want to hinder and have to come back and do a whole plan again to the state, when we could encompass the downtown corridor to allow the expansion to happen. That's why it goes to St. Mary's. There's not a lot after Shovel City, but there is work being done to revitalize that district as well. So it included, so that once that was finished, we didn't have to come back and submit to the state again to do all the changes yet again. It's very timely, and it was to hope to save Evelyn and city council the headache of recent.
Yeah, I just, in my searching and looking in that area that I'm objecting to, there's no place in there that's gonna become a bar or restaurant.
It's not for just a bar or restaurant, it's for shopping establishments.
Or a shopping establishment.
There's one right across the street from the church. You can also go into the dance academy and purchase stuff. They, at many times, have had people in there with door cups. They're fine with the door.
No, they're not as fine as you might think. I asked, I talked to all these people.
And if they're not fine with it, ask them to
Again.
opt out.
Again,
Yeah,
that
because they can't opt out.
puts, the city council says everything's okay, and then we have to say, no, it's not. That part of it doesn't make sense to me.
And we try to listen to what you say.
I appreciate that, and I'm not getting up even one more time tonight.
Sure. Anybody else? Okay, nothing else? Meeting adjourned, 7:15.
I'll be back. The streets and sewer next time.
Yeah. Should I tell them to do that one?
It didn't rise to the level of
Yeah. Isn't that how they do it?
But they get elected Congress.
Senators are six.
Senators are six.
Do they reorganize every 2 years?
Mr. Barr, Ms. Larkin?
Things are down at the House and Senate.
Well, you got the answer.
The Senate's got 4 terms.
They pass it. Yeah, I'm coming back. You are.
There was 18, 19 of them. Matters not on the agenda.
7:16, call to order, Streets and Sewers Committee. Clerk, will you take roll?
Mr. Barr?
Present.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Okay, summary of proceedings. Ms. Larkin, have you had an opportunity to review?
Yes, and I make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Take roll. I'll second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Okay, new business, item 1. Clerk, if you'll read.
Resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contract awards in 2026 and declaring an emergency.
Okay, it's kind of our standard stuff. Mr. Bishop is here. I believe it's that time to get in on the bulk pricing for salt. I'm sure we went through quite a bit this year. If anybody has any questions for Mr. Bishop, I'm sure he'll come up and answer. I've already discussed most of this with him today. What are we getting, about 14,000?
That's what the garage is requesting.
And we got
1,400 tons.
1,400 tons, and then we got 1,200 last year. And we had a pretty hefty winter. Yes, ma'am, Miss Mayor.
Kimberly Mayor, 890 Gephardt Street. I just have one question. Do we do any kind of thing where we look at the weather before we drop the salt? Because sometimes I come out there and I see salt, and then I'm like, why are we having the salt out here? Because sometimes it's unnecessary, because we're getting ready to have rain, or we're going to have something.
Greg and the streets department out there, they usually do a pretty good job of staying on top of it and trying to pre-treat roads.
I was just making sure, because certain things, you have to have certain weather, the weather increments have to be right. So sometimes dropping brine versus salt, there's certain weather increments. So my question is are they looking at those things before they decide just to throw it?
I'm sure Mr. May's out.
Because there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it's above my pay grade, I'm sure.
Because there's a lot. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Wishes of the committee? I'll make a recommendation to send on the full council with the recommendation to approve.
Second.
Take roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Okay. Matters not on the agenda.
I missed this in the original
Good to you.
committee items. It's an ordinance to enact the City of Marion, Marion County, Ohio, hereafter referred to as the local public agency, in the matter of ODOT resurfacing 116621 project and declaring an emergency. This is basically our agreement to allow ODOT to redo sections of 309, 95, and 203 within the City of Marion, and our agreement to take care of those sections of road when it comes to cleaning, repairs, and
Yeah. And I
Plowing.
believe 95 and 203 are outside the municipality,
there are sections of it that are in the municipality.
not for this project.
Oh.
Right. The only one for this project is 309 out in front of Harding High School in Garfield Park, and it's just the north lane.
Yeah, Scott Bishop, Assistant City Engineer. So all of 203 is west of town. That connects 309 down to 739. With this project, this portion of 95 will start at University Drive and go out to almost Menards. So that's all in Marion Township, I think. The only section that's going to be within the city is a portion of State Route 309. It starts around Garfield Park and goes out to about the school. And actually, it's just the northern side of it because the port runs down about the center line of 309. So it's a real small project, but we still, because we're involved in it, we have to approve the consent legislation to allow ODOT to come in and do it's an urban paving project, so.
And just for the record, our portion of this,
They're not asking for any funds from the city for this portion, so this will be all ODOT funded.
okay. Do we need to clean anything up? Is just State Route 309 okay on here, as we discussed earlier? Or is there got to be more language in specific location?
I don't believe so. That legislation came as is from ODOT
Okay.
to us. I think Matt kind of formatted it differently.
No, this was an older piece of legislation. I added the 309, the 95, and the 203 in. Those other pieces of legislation have a more descriptive area of what we're doing. Whatever ODOT sent to him, it looks like a contract. It really isn't an ordinance that we could use.
Well, I looked at the maps with you today, and we understand where it is. And you're going to push for maybe widening that lane across from Sarah Drive,
Yeah.
so we can break up the congestion out there.
That's what we can do.
Any other questions on this issue? Wishes of the committee? Mr. Daniels, do you have something about this one?
That specific issue?
Yes.
I mean, are we?
We're about ready to vote on this. If it doesn't have to do with this, we'll have an opportunity for you to speak here in a second on any other matter not on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
I just hold my tongue there for that.
Sorry, buddy. I'll make a motion to send on to council with a recommendation to approve.
Second.
We take roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Any other matters not on the agenda?
Daniel, 608 Decatur Street, Marion, Ohio. I think everybody saw the Facebook videos of what happened on Friday night, especially with North Prospect Street. I don't think I've ever seen North Prospect Street as deep as that. I mean, it looked like it's about two or 3 feet deep there. I don't live on that street, thankfully. But with all the rain, which we cannot control, nor the tornado that was above our heads, I mean, when all of the ice started falling on my truck and I thought my windows were going to blow out, I had no idea that there was a tornado over our heads. I live in a certain section of about, 10 streets were like flooded that particular night, including Jefferson, that low spot where the tracks were at. I live over, of course, on Decatur. And surprisingly, beside Jefferson number 3, where there is a storm sewer directly underneath the alleyway. I am particularly blessed, and if I ever complained about the storm sewer fees, I will not ever do that again, because the field over by Fair Park, and you know it because you live over there, was completely flooded, like it was in 2013. The water came pouring over there into the trench and right out through the storm sewer. If it didn't have a storm sewer over there, we'd still be a lake at this point. The water would be able to go nowhere. So it is absolutely, I don't know how your guys are going to do it with the situation that we're all currently in. But it is a priority that we eventually correct this storm sewer system, because it's like North Prospect and especially Lane and Columbia. It's like it just runs into people's basements. Eventually it's going to wear on people's foundations. I mean, I don't know how long that stayed around. I think it stayed around for about 4 hours before it finally went down. But I mean, I saw that car trying to navigate through there and finally turn off and go into their own driveway. But it's like, that's been going on for way too long. And that's about it.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
We had 5 inches of rain that night, so we don't usually get that much rain, so that, but yeah, the north end of North Prospect was flooded too. And I'm sure there's been more areas, but we had an exceptional amount of rain.
Oh, I'm not denying that. all the way from McDonald's to the overpass. I mean, the only other time I've ever seen that happen is like we had a torrential downpour in 2017 that came down, and Blaine Avenue to Columbia was just 4 feet underwater.
Teresa Lepke, 555 Normandy Drive. I've been to this committee and city council meetings. I've been in my current house in Marion here for almost 18 years, and I've been here several times to talk about the fact that the sanitary sewers back up on Normandy. And Mr. Dickel came by and looked at it, so I really appreciate that. And the city was there Monday cleaning. This is already twice now this spring, was cleaning it up, so I appreciate that. Every time I've come, 18 years, come September, I'm told you gotta be patient, this is a long-term solution. Well, I'm done being patient. 18 years is a really long time. And, you know, we wanna talk about whether we give 100% income tax credit to people that work out of town and how that's gonna impact people living here. People aren't gonna live here if every time it rains, because this will happen 5 or 6 times on Normandy. Every time it rains, you get toilet paper on your sidewalk. It's gonna we're gonna move. I mean, my husband and I are at a point in our lives where we're talking about, do we add on to our house or do we move? And after this last twice now in the past week, it's like, yeah, I'm not putting money into this house when for 18 years it's been a problem and the city hasn't addressed it. It has to get addressed. It's a public health issue. It's not just, it's not storm sewers. It's not rainwater.
Sewer.
It's sewage. It's sewage. And there's still, city did a pretty good job, there's still toilet paper at the intersection of Virginia and Normandy Drive today when I was walking my dog. And maybe I shouldn't have been patient for 18 years. People say, why do you live there? That's, you know, but we like our neighborhood. We like the city of Marion. But like I said, I said, we gotta move if the city, and how are you gonna attract and keep people if you have sanitary sewer in their yards and on their sidewalks?
Mr. Dickel, and then after that, Mr. Clark.
Hi, Bill Dickel, Ward 6 Councilman. I did talk to Mrs. Lutke the other day, and I also talked to the people who live down the street over 507 Normandy. You've been out there. Very nice people. They're very grateful. They're very forgiving. Ironically enough, they've only lived there for under a year, and they moved from Hain Avenue because they used to get flooding in their yard. So, my understanding is, what I'm hearing from people is the problem, I mean, obviously the volume of rain we had, but the problem is that my understanding is a lot of people have sump pumps that are tied into the wrong drain system, which perpetuates this over and over again. It doesn't stop. When I stopped over his yard, it was 8 hours after the rain had stopped, and it was still bubbling that high above with sewage. And again, he knows it's not the city's fault per se, we need to replace lines, but is there any knowledge that people's drains are hooked up to the wrong systems, that we need to encourage people to get that fixed?
Mr. Clark could probably answer that. He's been a plumber for decades. And I believe he was next.
My name's Mike Clark. I live on King Avenue. And I walked down Normandy Drive in chest deep water and got my dad out of the water, and the water was clear up to the front. It's been that way for eons. But what people have to understand, I've been in so many houses working on people's sump pumps, and they run them right into their sanitary sewer. And that's really hard to control. And it used to be, it's not this way anymore. You would call, somebody from the city would call and say, well, you can't run your sump pump out onto the street. Well, the law says, the state code says, you don't mix storm with sanitary, which is pretty hard to do. So in the city, which I think they do now, when you call up, somebody calls to complain about somebody's sump pump, as long as it's not dumping to the adjacent property or onto the adjacent property, the correct way to drain a sump pump with no gray water or black water running into that pit is to drain it out, say like out into your front yard or backyard, but not to your, that's gonna be pretty hard to fix, because you've done away with a lot of retention ponds. It's like a lot of these new businesses, Del Taco comes up to mind, the retention pond that they put underneath that parking lot is obscene, because all they want to do with the new businesses is hold the water long enough to where Normandy Drive or Decatur or wherever you're at, or Fair Park, it's not flooding. Okay, so, you know, because we've done away with some retention ponds. The only one that we really have now within the city limits is McKinley. Because I don't even think Sawyer's is tied into any of that. I think the EPA made them do something with that.
It's tied into some. They found some blue in there last year.
And I mean, I live on King Avenue. There's an 8-inch sewer main that from the curb where it splits off of Hain King, the sanitary is supposed to be 8 feet deep and the storm is 6 feet deep. And it's not even laid to grade. If you go to the city engineer's office and you look how it's laid. When I bought my first house, I had the same thing you had, raw sewer. Now, I can recommend that you put in a backflow.
We have a backflow. We're not getting it in our house, it's on the sidewalk, we have a backflow.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not gonna be an easy fix, I guarantee you, and it could be your neighbor. I was in a house today where it was like, you can't do that, you know, you have to run it out on the street, but you don't have residential plumbing inspections in town unless it's new construction or it's commercial. So, you know, unless you got the health department going out there, and, you know, it might be something you want to talk to the health department to where, you know, you're supposed to buy a permit for a water heater, a sewer line, and they come up from Delaware County to inspect, even actually to approve the backflow preventers, backwater valves. Those are supposed to be inspected anytime, and it's a hot mess. I mean.
Well, thank you, Mr. Clark. And also, I think these sewers, storm sewers are over 100 years old.
Yes.
That's part of our 29-year long-term control plan to replace these, which is to the tune of almost $30 million somewhere. Right, Mr. Bishop? Yes, ma'am.
Just lucky 555 Normandy died, but I've been hearing that 29-year plan for how long now? At least 10 years.
No, we just started that 4 years ago.
Or it's gonna, yeah. But, you know, to that point, I mean, this is part of what happens when.
It was
you
when they
don't-
just started it.
When you don't have residential building codes. And we know, because we know we saw it when we were buying houses, and we know people are putting their sump pumps into the sanitary sewer. That's why when there's a lot of groundwater, it's not the storm sewer that backs up, it's the sanitary sewer. So that explains, and we have to do something to at least change it going forward. And so we say we can't have residential building codes. We're against that, but it's okay to have sanitary sewer on our sidewalks. You know, something has to happen. And so I don't know, do I have to get like my whole neighborhood in, which I will? I mean, I canvassed before for things to come. I mean, what do we have to do to get something to get done? And I'm asking a very serious question. Like, what can I do? Because it's been 18 years.
Mr. Bishop? Well, I think you're probably the most appropriate person to respond to this.
I don't know that I have anything additional to add. Unfortunately, I don't disagree with having, I have a residential building code. It kind of hamstrings us a little bit because it's very simple to take your sump pump that's in your basement, where you have access to your sewer as well, and connect them, and nobody would know that. On the flip side of that, we've completed projects, brand new pipe, brand new sewer, and you walk down it and you still smell sewer, and we get that question a lot. So we have some sewers that are connected to storms. I mean, there's these cross connections. To go through and try to figure these out, I'm not sure what that process would even look like. But yeah, anytime where you can do something on a weekend or in the evening during the day where nobody else can see it, it is difficult. I don't know really what the answer is to resolve that.
If I remember rightly, didn't we have it to where it was being done in phases? The sewer was being done in phases or something?
Yeah, we're only on
That's
phase,
the long-term
we're only on phase 3.
Okay.
2 and 3 right now.
I'm sorry, I don't have the answers for you, Ms. Lepke, but I'll keep asking questions as well, and I have your number, so I'll get it over to you. Any other matters not on the agenda? And none, seeing none, we're adjourned, 7:37.
Thank you.
Let's get this over.
It is 7:38. We'll bring Finance Committee to order for 4/6/26. Clerk, could you please take roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Present.
Mr. Arschmidt?
Here.
Mr. Clark?
Here.
All right. I do have minutes from March 16th. Has the committee had a chance to review those?
Yes, and I would make a recommendation that we approve of those.
I'll second.
Got a first and a second. Clerk, could you please take roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Arschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right. First item of old business, audits. Last committee meeting, we got an update from Mr. Watts. At that time, we were kind of at a standstill. We were waiting on reconciliations to be completed. The gentleman that we had hired to help with reconciliations had just had surgery. Do we have any further updates at this time?
No, I think he's back on the job, if I'm correct, but I don't have an update currently.
We had a meeting with him Zoom meeting with him last week, and he's doing better. He's still battling a few health issues, but he is back on, working on the reconciliations. We hope that he has those completed by April 18th.
Okay.
So we can move it on to Clark Schaefer Haskett, so they don't have to move the deadline again. We'll have another update with him this Thursday.
Okay. Questions from committee?
No.
Questions from the audience? All right. Item number 2, penalties and appeals. Last meeting, we got an update on some additional penalties for OPNF and OPERS to the tune of $16,124. I guess first, have we received any other correspondence in relation to that or any new penalties?
No, not as of right now. We have not heard back from the IRS about the status of the other appeals we have. A letter has been sent to them to get an update of where we stand. But yes, as far as OPERS and OPNF, they are caught up. I'm not sure if there's any additional penalties. They haven't notified us of that. But they are current as of right now. Obviously, OPERS and OPNF will be payable again at the end of this month, but they are current.
Okay. And all employees have been made whole with regard to their retirement contributions, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, with OPERS, their 457s are caught up also.
Okay.
As of the last pay.
Questions or comments from committee?
None for me.
Anything from the audience? All right, we will move on to new business. Item number 3 is a appropriation for SCMR. Clerk, could you please read?
Ordinance requesting additional appropriations to the SCMR fund in the below listed line item for the year ending December 31st, 2026.
All right, these are in reference to the normal bond refund payments. This is a regular standing item for the Finance Committee. If there are any questions, I would turn them over to Ms. Toriano. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion at this time.
I'll move that we send on to council with the recommendation to approve.
A second.
Clerk, could you please take roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Arshmith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right. Item number 4 is downtown donation for downtown benches. Clerk, could you please read?
Ordinance appropriating donated funds for the purchase and installation of public benches for beautification purposes in the below listed line item for the year ending December 31st, 26, sorry.
All right. This came from the Office of Budget Management. It looks like a few downtown organizations, Henry Development Group and Susan Garifamo.
Cornflow.
Thank you. Have offered a donation for downtown. Anything you want to add to that?
This is just, like you stated, this is donations that have been taken in from different individuals or businesses for the purpose of purchasing a bench to be displayed downtown. We're just asking for the donations that we're taking in to be appropriated and added to the budget for those expenses to be covered.
Thank you. Questions from committee?
None. I'd make a motion, we send this on to council with a recommendation to approve.
Second.
I've got a first and a second. Anything from the audience? Clerk, could you please take roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Arshmith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right, moving on to item number 5, another donation Although this one, I do have a edited copy that I will pass out to the committee. So the previous legislation was for a total amount of $923.70. My understanding was there was an additional donation, which now took that total to $1,348.70. And this is, for what I understand, planters for downtown, is that correct?
Correct.
Well, this was something that we saw in another city, and Tom Trout, our maintenance supervisor that does the downtown flowers and all of that, thought that it would be a great idea for here. It's actually called a petunia tree, and it's actually a metal framework that you put 12-inch pots in, and it forms one great big flower. I think they're looking at doing that at Founder's Park, if I'm correct, and they're working with the prison to get that built, the material and the cost and all of that is what we're looking at tonight that was donated.
Very good, thank you. And as I usually do, when these come forward, the donations were received from Pillar Credit Union, Fahey, and Veterans Memorial Park. Any questions or comments from committee?
I have a question. So this is for the planter, or whatever you want to call it, and then the city would provide the flowers and then maintain them with their regular street people?
That's right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to send it on to council with a recommendation to approve.
I'll second.
Got a first and a second. Clerk, could you please take roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Arschman?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right. I believe item number 6 is in relation to the Indigent Defense Fund. Clerk, could you please read the ordinance?
Ordinance authorizing the safety director to enter into an updated replacement contract with the county commissioners requested by the Ohio Public Defender's Office to provide for reimbursements from the state of Ohio for attorneys appointed for indigent persons charged in the Marion Municipal Court and declaring an emergency.
Ooh, Director Russell.
So this is a matter of housekeeping. This has probably been passed 9 to 15 times before. Generally comes around every 2 years. It enables the city to recover revenues available for reimbursement for indigent counsel fees. So by passing this, it'll enable revenue to flow into the city's funds, reimbursed by the state through the county.
I'm all for that.
I will make a motion to send this on to council with a recommendation to approve.
Second.
I've got a first and a second. Clerk, could you please take roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Arschman?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right, one final item of business tonight, fund establishment of unclaimed funds. Clerk, could you please read?
Resolution to, I'm sorry, you have a new ordinance. I don't think I got the front page updated.
You're a bad boy.
Let me find it. Resolution establishing the unclaimed funds fund.
Thank you, Clerk. This came to us from Deputy Auditor Watts, and this is to establish an unclaimed funds fund. I believe this is in relation to checks, but I will turn this over to Deputy
Yes.
Watts.
What this does is, the city has to hold checks for 5 years that are not cashed. And we put them in this fund and hold them while we still identify the money and who it goes to, so that they have a period of 5 years to collect their funds. Currently, we have like $14,415 from 2024. We don't have anything older than that, but we have about 14,000 from 24. We have about 294,000 from 25 and 26 to current. So this would it'd be a resolution to establish a fund. We'll put that money in there and hold it. Then once that time period expires, then it would go back into the general fund. Is that not correct?
Yeah. Is there a process then for folks to claim these funds, or is it simply just come to the office and claim the funds?
Well, yes, I mean, on the older ones, before we would throw them in, we'll send out letters to the people to identify that we have an uncashed check.
Okay.
What do they want us to do with it?
Gotcha.
We have to make a good faith effort, so at least 2 to 3 attempts to reach the person that the check belongs to.
Okay, thank you. Questions from committee?
No.
Questions from the audience?
Tom Barfus with City Council. I was just curious what the ORC 9.35 had to do with any of this. Just the contracts or ministerial duties of public officials. Is that just saying that you're creating another line item or fund to put this money in and hold? Is that what all that ordinance is about?
Yes, that's what the ordinance is about. I don't know what the ORC, other than it's up to the auditor to do that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Make a motion to send to council with recommendation to approve.
Okay, I've got a first and a second to send on the council with a recommendation to approve. Clerk, could you please take roll.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Archman?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right. That is all for the agenda tonight. Are there any matters to come before Finance Committee that were not on the agenda tonight? Looks like I have one.
Well, it was on the agenda, so I apologize.
Oh, boy.
To backtrack to item number 2, the second bullet point, status of the police and fire pension fund claim against the bond. Where are we at with that, Director Russell? Because that has no opportunity to be abated.
Well, I'll get up and I hit play on the same thing I've said the last 3 times, and it's a good question, but the answer is the same. So with the audit that just concluded, which was 2019, 2021. The 2021 audit that was just done, we collectively had requested the State of Ohio Auditor's Office allow the finding for recovery to be made in the 2021 audit. What they told us was they're going to continue to monitor it, and remember, I did tell them exactly what you just said, that there's no ability for this to be reversed or recovered through an abatement process. But even so, the auditor state has it on the list for when they complete the 2022 audit to make the finding for recovery in regards to the police and fire pension funds and the PERS monies. So we're tracking them.
Okay. They're matching all those together with the IRS
Yeah.
penalties.
They should have included.
With that one not being able to be abated or request or appeal.
No reason it shouldn't have been
They should be
a
able to
finding for
move forward.
recovery in the 2021 audit that was completed. No reason.
Okay, well, I apologize, in 2 weeks I'll probably ask.
Good for you.
All right, any other items to come before Finance? If not, we are adjourned. Shut the recorder off.
Well, yeah.